Hello again and welcome back. Welcome to class number 400. Yes, this is class 400. We're going to stop now and continue in October with class 401. But during August and September, there will be repetitions on television. But of course, remember, I recommend always that you go into the internet to Vaughan RTV a la carta, and you have all 400 classes. So I recommend you continue reviewing in the meantime. And starting on October 4th, I think it's Monday, October 4th. I think October 4th is Monday. I'm going to check. Yes. So I suppose, si todo va según lo previsto, ¿cómo se dice eso? If everything goes as planned, o sea, como planeado, if everything goes as planned, the next class, chronologically, will be on October 4th on television and simultaneously on the internet in RTV a la carta. Bam, you will have it. All right? And so be patient. And you have una riqueza de clases ahí para ir atrás. I mean, now, if you're watching the program now and you have access to the internet, well, go back to class 111 and listen to it. Go back to class 222 and listen to it. Go back to class 333 and listen to it. Go back to class number 1 and say, a table, a chair, a book. Is this a book? Yes, it is. Is this a table? Yes, it is. Is this a watch? Yes, it is. Is this a chair? Yes, it is. Is this a chair? No, it's not. What is it? It's a table. Okay, you remember? Is this a table? No, it's not. What is it? It's a telephone. It's a, and the phonetics. The basic elements, remember, I've told you 200 times that the basic elements of the language are critical. And if you undervalue, si menosprecias, the basic elements, you will never speak English well. Okay, let's finish our vocabulary from yesterday, and then, because this is our last class until October, I will become a bit philosophical at the end. All right. Atención, attention. Belga, Belgian. Circunstancias, circumstances. Exigente, demanding. Incendio, fuego, fire. Mejora, improvement. Cuchillo, knife. Camudo al principio, knife. Casi, casi, nearly, almost. Recomendación, recommendation. Estrategia, strategy. Okay, strategy. Guía telefónica, telephone book. Okay. Contestar, to answer. Volver a telefonear, to call back. Dibujar, to draw. Terminar, to end. Encontrar, to find. Notar, to notice. Percatarse de alguien. I noticed. Acabo de notar. Acabo de darme cuenta. I've just realized or just noticed. To realize is caer en la cuenta de algo. Anda. No me di cuenta que Marta llevaba lentillas. Is it true? Are you wearing? Come on, no. Are you wearing contact lenses? I didn't realize she was wearing contact lenses. Yeah, me no. I'm not wearing contact lenses. I don't need glasses. But she does, apparently. Do you prefer contact lenses or glasses? Contacts. Yes? Okay. Do you take them out when you go to bed? Yes, you do. She takes them out when she goes to bed. Yes. Do you put them on before coming here? She puts them on before coming here. All right. Good. I didn't notice. No me di cuenta. I didn't realize es más impactante. I didn't notice es menos impactante. No noté. No percibí. I didn't notice. Enriquecerse is to get rich. To get rich. my objective in life is to get rich. I'm still trying. I'm still trying. I'm still making an effort. My idea in life was to be rich and to get rich before the age of 30, but I failed. So I modified my plan to age 40. I will get rich before I turn 40. And I didn't achieve my objective. I didn't accomplish my objective. So I modified my objective and I decided to get rich by age 50. By age 50, para el 50 aniversario. And I didn't. So I modified my plan to get rich by age 60. And again, I'm still trying. The never-ending story. Okay. So, enriquecerse is to get rich. Yes. Algunos dicen, some people say, you'll never get rich working. Nunca te harás rico trabajando. That's not true. That's not true. And it also depends on your definition of to get rich. Because to get rich is not necessarily a question of money. To get rich can be to become happy, to enjoy life. Richness, la riqueza en la vida, richness in life is not necessarily a monetary question. So, richness is happiness, satisfaction with your life, with your etc. There are many things. So, before we decide to get rich or not, we need to decide on the correct definition of rich. All right, sustituir is to replace. Claro. To replace, reemplazar, to replace. To substitute is temporary. To replace is permanent. Okay. Now, if I get sick and I can't do this program, another teacher can substitute for me until I get well and can come back. Now, if I decide to retire, or if I get seriously ill, if I fall seriously ill, then probably a teacher will replace me and not substitute for me. So substitution is suplencia, temporal. Replacement is sustitución definitiva, to replace. So substitute, substitute escrito. Substitute siempre es temporal, como una suplencia. Replacement siempre es definitivo. All right? Definitive. Sustituir, to replace. Afirmar, to state. State, como el Estado, Estados Unidos, states, to state. To make a statement is hacer una declaración, una afirmación. Is a statement. Yes, to state. Juguetes, toys. Toys R Us, toys, 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 toys. Yeah. Richard, do you have any toys? Yes. Yes, I have 3 toys. Really? Only 3? Yeah, toys. Yeah, I have a guitar, a piano, and a car. But I'm planning to sell the car. So I will in the end, I'll have only 2 toys. Playing with my guitar and with my piano. Mojado is wet. Table is wet. Yeah. Wet is mojado. Humid is húmedo, del ambiente, humedad en el aire. Humid. Moist is la humedad de las manos que te gusta. Tener las manos un poco. Not, if you have dry hands, you use a moistener to moisten your hands. Also, if you have let's see, if this is a letter, you put the stamp on the back, on the top right corner of the envelope. Es un sobre ahora. You put the stamp, you place the stamp. Place is colocar, put is poner. You place the stamp in the top right corner, not in the top left corner, and not in the bottom right corner, but, sino, no aquí ni aquí, sino aquí. Not here, but here. And you place the stamp. But before you place the stamp, You moisten it with your tongue. Then you place it there. Well, now stamps are different, and they are adhesive already. Adhesive, adherentes. We say adhesivos. They're adhesive already, so you don't need to moisten the stamp. All right, but in any case, esto es mojado de wet. Estoy mojado. I'm wet. To get wet is mojarse. Me he mojado en la tormenta. Me mojé. I got wet in the storm. To get wet. ¿Le importaría? Would you mind? ¿Le importaría abrir la ventana? Would you mind opening the window? Marta, ¿te importaría abrir la puerta? Would you mind opening? Would you mind? There are many ways. Could you open the door, please? Can you open the door, please? ¿Puedes o podrías? Could you open the door, please? Can you open the door, please? Would you mind opening the door, please? Open the door. Would you open the door? Would you open the door? Would you? No es abrirías la puerta, por favor. No. La expresión, oye, Marta, ¿quieres abrir la puerta, por favor? ¿Quieres? Donde decís aquí, ¿quieres? Oye, ¿quieres traerme la botella de agua, por favor? Would you? Would you bring me? But don't worry. There are many ways to use the imperative in a polite and courteous way. Could you? Can you? Would you mind? And would you? Choose one, the one that is easiest to pronounce, and use it always. Don't try to use all four. Whichever one is more natural for you. Could you open the door, please? Would you open the door, please? Can you? A mí me gusta can you. Caña. Can you open the door? Caña, como caña de cerveza, casi se pronuncia. Can you open the door, please? Can you open the door, please? Okay. Mojado, le importaría, y escritor, writer. Don Quixote de la Mancha was a book written by Cervantes. Cervantes was a writer. Paperback writer, a writer. Okay. We have time. How much time do we have? About 10 minutes? 12 minutes more? We have more time. Okay. This is class number 400. We have 12 minutes and... No, we have more. We have about 13 minutes. Okay, about 13 minutes. This is class number 400. As I said a few minutes ago, we will stop now temporarily. Temporarily we'll stop. And we'll start again on the 4th of October. Mientras, in the meantime, Spanish television will continue repetitions of these programs every morning at 7:30. I recommend you watch the repetitions on television or on the internet in RTV a la carta, Radio Televisión Española a la carta. And you can have 400 programs, 400 classes. So you have a lot of material. So in the meantime, I recommend that you continue staying in contact with the English language and continue reviewing. It always helps. And then in October, we will start again. And I will introduce, I will introduce 3 additional books because we are going to finish. We are on page 386, and there are 405 pages. So we will finish this immediately in October. But there will be 3 new books. And I will continue until next summer of next year. And I'm going to begin to speak more dynamically. I'm going to be less condescending with my speech, unless maybe some phonetics. I will slow down and dissect certain phonetic questions, but the classes will become more demanding for your ear and more demanding simply for rich language. But however, 90% of everything I will say after October is here. because 90% of everything English-speaking people say is here. Remember that. Of course, this is important, and there are a lot of review points. But remember, there are only two objectives. There are only two objectives to use English well when you're speaking: understanding and agility with the basic grammar. Those are the only two objectives. Everything else is secondary or tertiary. There are only two objectives: listening comprehension and agility with the basic grammar. Agility with the basic grammar. 70% of everything you do on your own time should be focused on your ear. El 70% de todo, tu tiempo personal dedicado al inglés para el oído. 70%. 29% agilizar más la gramática básica al hablar. Y el 1% todo lo demás. Vocabulary, forever, etc. This. On the internet, there are at least 1 million interviews in English, or 1 million programs on YouTube in English. If you're interested in electric guitars, you go in, and there are probably 1,000 10-minute or 15-minute shows about famous electric guitarists, Jimmy Page, or Stevie Ray Vaughan, or any of the famous guitarists, Eric Clapton, yes, Bobby Moore, and so you can, no, Gary Moore. Bobby Moore was a football player. You can find, if you're interested in classical music, on YouTube there are interviews with experts on classical, on Bach, Beethoven, Chopin, Mozart, Wagner, Stravinsky, Paganini. You can find all kinds of interviews in English. If you're interested in exercises, you go into the internet and there are 20,000 5-minute, 10-minute presentations of how to do exercises properly. You have 10-minute, 20-minute interviews on people about medicine, about engineering, about construction, about vacations, about Russia, about China, about Argentina, about Bolivia, about Sweden. You can find so much on the internet, on YouTube and similar. You can watch TED Talks. You can listen to interviews with Paul McCartney, interviews with George Harrison, interviews with Barack Obama, interviews with Donald Trump, interviews in English with Antonio Banderas, interviews with Clark Gable, interviews with James Stewart, interviews with Cary Grant, interviews with Al Pacino. And you can listen to them talking again and again. Do that for your ear. 2 interviews, 3 interviews per day. Between now and October, and after October, etc. Remember this, but don't watch movies and don't watch television series. I don't recommend it. Don't watch movies. No ver las películas, ni las series de televisión. In movies, a movie normally lasts 100 minutes. That's the average length of a film, 100 minutes. During those 100 minutes, people are talking only 15. The rest of the movie is action, movement, transition. Second, so it's not an efficient use of your ear time, tiempo auditivo. It's not an efficient approach. Second, the actors, the screenwriters, los guionistas, and the directors make English more difficult than real life. It's more difficult to understand movies than to understand in New York or in Dallas or in Melbourne or in London. It's more difficult to understand movies. When I came to Spain at the age of 20, with 6 years of Spanish in secondary school, I didn't understand anybody. The first week. After 7 months, I understood almost perfectly. 7 months living here. It took me 3 years to understand in el cine, the movies. It took me 3 years. So movies, films, are not a correct representation of the listening comprehension reality. There are 3 realities of listening. Well, there's only one reality. Talking to native people, professionally or personally. Now, on a scale of 1 to 100, una escala 1 al 100, on a scale of 1 to 100, in difficulty, factor de dificultad, del 1 al 100, tu profesor en inglés es factor de dificultad 10. It's easy. It's factor 10. In real life, in London, in Scotland, in Canada, in the United States, etc., factor 40, 4 times more difficult. It's 4 times more difficult to understand in real life than to understand in the classroom. But a movie is factor 100. So the movie is much more difficult than real life. So don't watch movies, ni con subtítulos en español ni en inglés. Los subtítulos son ruedines de bici. Y nunca aprendes bici con ruedines. And besides, when you're watching subtitle, it's a reading exercise. It's not a listening exercise. So go to YouTube and listen to interviews donde el 100% es carne auditiva. Do that. But you need 1,000 a 1,000 horas, lo siento, 1,000 hours. I cannot teach you how to understand better. It's impossible. Understanding is a skill that you develop. Y si no entiendes nada, si te enseño el guión, entiendes el 50%. Si entiendes solo el 20%, si te enseño el guión, entiendes casi al 100%. O sea, es porque el oído no discrimina sonidos. The ear is not discriminating sounds. Estás oyendo pa'lante y o sea, es para adelante, claro. Es que yo entendía pa'lante. Pues claro, es lo que han dicho, pa'lante. Es para adelante, ahora lo entiendo. You see, pero el oído tiene que acostumbrar a oír pa'lante. All right? Y gonna, instead of going to, wanna, etc. Listening comprehension. The second priority, y solo hay 2 prioridades, there are only 2 priorities, agilidad con la gramática básica. La básica, no la avanzada. La avanzada se usa 1 vez al mes. La básica se usa 3 veces por minuto. Okay? Remember, prioritize. Pero hay que agilizarlo. You have to go into this book here con lo más facilito. Lo más facilito. Estamos consiguiendo beneficios. We are making profits. And say it aloud. Hay que decirlo en voz alta. Claro, aquí ofrecemos el audio. O sea, aquí, el audio para descargar. You can download the audio from these books and you can listen and copy, but you have to say 1,000 sentences per month in voz alta, aloud. ¿Por qué estás aquí? Why are you here? I didn't expect you. I expected you tomorrow. Why are you here now? I didn't do it. Why didn't you do it? I'm sitting in a chair. Why are you sitting in a chair? I'm looking at you. Why are you looking at me? I have 10 fingers. Why do you have 10 fingers? Preguntas absurdas muchas. Pero vamos, practicando, te encierras en una habitación y declama inglés así, en voz alta, para agilizar el uso de la gramática más elemental, que es la gramática, que es el 90% de todo lo que se dice en cualquier idioma. Es todo lo que se dice. Verbo ser, verbo decir, ambos en el presente. La gramática básica es el 90% de todo lo que decimos. Okay, these are 2 very simple verbs, ser y decir. Both in the present tense. El condicional se usa 2 veces al mes. Don't worry. And phrasal verbs? No. Phrasal verbs are for YouTube understanding, not for speaking. Turn down is to turn down is rechazar. Me rechazaron mi oferta. They turned down my offer. Pero también se puede decir reject. There's always a standard verb or a Latin verb to replace the phrasal verb, and it sounds better. Simplification, sencillez en el habla, pero el oído todo. They're two different skills. But to reach a good command of English requires time. You must, es la única constante de la ecuación, es tiempo, time. And you must devote time. Los que pregonan por ahí con 8 meses o 3 meses o con 1000 palabras mienten. Learning a second language is not easy, pero vale la pena. I'll be back in October to continue. Take care.